these things evolve, and especially in the last century with the invention or the coming of age of the recording device as it morphed through its many forms, that we're actually able to hear music that was played in the last century. It was really the first century to do that. So you can actually hear the evolution of bluegrass music by going home and getting on the internet, checking out these various things that I'm going to mention. Early country music that was recorded in the late 20s and the 30s and the 40s. You can actually just trace the evolution of this music. And a lot of it is due to a man named Ralph Peer, who was a young kid working in the Kansas City Railroad stockyard and watching shipments of phonograph records, mostly classical recordings from the big major label. It's pretty much exclusively classical music and opera. People like Enrico Caruso and string quartets, symphonies. And this young man, Ralph Peer, noticed there were small companies starting to record kind of folk music, ethnic music, blues, and early jazz, all these kind of little pockets of indigenous American music that were actually made by the people, some European composers from 100 years prior. So it was kind of a very vital form of music, and Ralph Peer got the brilliant idea to go to RCA Victor, the biggest record company in the world, and pitch them on the idea of recording some of this music. And they actually went for it. And so in 1927, in Bristol, Virginia, Ralph Peer set up some recording studios and hotel rooms and auditioned and recorded many of the acts that would become cornerstones of American country and folk music. Among them was Ernest B. Stoneman and his family, Jimmy Rogers, the blues yodeler, and the Carter family. And the Carter family consisted of A.P. Carter and his wife Sarah and her cousin Mabel. And A.P. would go into the mountains, sometimes walk for days. He took a man named Leslie Riddle, a black man who was more or less a human tape recorder, and they'd go to people's houses and ask them if they had any songs, and A.P. would write down the words, and Leslie Riddle would remember the melodies, and they'd bring them back where he'd teach them to his wife Sarah, who had a beautiful voice, and her cousin Mabel, who was kind of coincidentally in the process of inventing country guitar.
Yeah.
And A.P. kind of chirped in occasionally with his baritone, tenor, bass, random vocals. And together for the next decade or so, they recorded about 600 songs, and many of which have become the bedrock of the bluegrass repertoire. So I'd like to take a little break in the lecture and play you a part of that song.
Ow!